It's currently 9:46 p.m. I not too long ago finished the front of the belt for this polystyrene drawing. I worked on the winter cap throughout the morning, afternoon, and evening hours. I had a bowl of cereal around 10:15 in the morning. Excuse me, and I believe that may be around the time I started working on the polystyrene drawing for today at the latest. I recall being up earlier, maybe around 8 in the morning or so. These are the Sharpie markers I currently plan on using to draw in the jacket so far. A metallic marker is going to be involved too, though I haven't gotten to that point yet. These are all the Sharpie markers I either have used or will use for this project so far. This is the one with the black Sharpie marker dual tip with the better fine tip, and the one with the better ultra fine tip. And this is how I tell them apart. Over the past half hour or so, Dad cooked this steak after having it marinate for about 2 or so hours. Tastes pretty seasoned and tender. I had my first cup of coffee from the morning pot around the time I had the bowl of granola cereal. Which I put in myself. With milk like this, what I believe with some of the last of the old gallon. I finished it today, or at least we did. Had a glass of milk with the sandwiches and leftover fries. I had around 1:30 p.m. If I recall correctly, the sandwiches had pepper jack cheese and corned beef, and they were toasted. Makes for a pretty good combination. This wine is meant to go with the steak. Smells kind of fruity to me. It's maybe mildly bitter. This wine was given to Dad by someone he delivers to. It was a gift to Dad. Due to all the work I put in, and the new 99th Dan Hamming episode prop character polystyrene drawing, in a sense, it feels like I've been working all day since it ultimately took hours to complete that dark green winter cap. And then the front of the belt. Essentially for the belt, I decided to do essentially what I did for the last prop character I did for the 99th Dan Hamming episode, only I had to take into account that the jeans are going to be dark blue, in order to contrast with the primary color that the jacket's going to be. With so far this being used to differentiate the zipper flap and the outline of the pockets, essentially. And then from there, I'll be able to draw in the buttons. And then bring out either a gold or bronze metallic marker. I can't bring it out until I intend to use it. Rather, I've just got to keep it in my marker satchel because metallic Sharpie markers are different in that you're supposed to store them tip down. Whereas for all the other kinds of Sharpie markers, it doesn't really matter whether you store them tip up or down. Or for dual tips, whether you store them if the fine tip down or the ultra fine tip down. Until recently, I didn't even notice that labeling. So I would store metallics like all other Sharpie markers, tip up. Usually didn't cause me any problems, but I recall for one bronze metallic Sharpie marker, while working on the IHS polystyrene drawing, essentially drawing a duck, it ended up bleeding a little too much, to the point where it kind of got all over a small area into areas that were intended to be water, part of the pond. And luckily I managed to fix that with default blue Sharpie markers. And I think I managed to dry up that bronze metallic marker by rubbing the tip against my fingers. That sort of thing. This is the other of the breaded apples that Dad's mom made to give to Dad. He ultimately gave the other one to me after I finished. My helping of steak and mashed potatoes. I think that's a piece of the core or something. Harder than the rest of it. I microwave this for a minute. Inside the plastic cup it was originally on, with the plastic cup on this plate. Dad told me to microwave it with it on my plate. So that's what I did. And it turns out I was supposed to microwave it like this, but ultimately it turned out pretty good. Regardless. Today, in the early afternoon, around 1 p.m., after spending roughly from 11 in the morning to about 1 p.m., working on, in Vion Studio, a custom thumbnail for the 2022 polystyrene slideshow video with polystyrene drawings projects I completed early in the year being around here in the thumbnail, and projects completed late in that year being here on the thumbnail, generally, with the secondary objective of showing the variety of the projects I completed in that year. And then after I did that, I spent about half an hour or so with that message I typed out using an on-screen keyboard, where I would use the mouse to click on the buttons. In about 10 hours, I've gotten 14 views. But what matters ultimately is that I now have this video slideshow to look back on all the projects, polystyrene drawing projects I completed in the last year. And I'll be able to hopefully complete some more good projects in this new year. If I recall correctly, I got up around 8 in the morning, and Dad got up around 9:30 in the morning.